8 success strategies that waste your time. Let's get right into it. Number 1. Perfectionism. Perfectionism sounds like a noble trait, a relentless pursuit of excellence. But in practice, it's often just procrastination in a fancy suit. You fall into the perfectionism trap when you spend the vast majority of your time, say 80%, polishing the final 2% of a project. Psychologically, your brain is trying to protect you from judgment. The fear of being criticized triggers a loop that convinces you if you just make one more tweak, your work will become a flawless, impenetrable fortress. Think about the last time you drafted an important email. You wrote it, but then you reread it a dozen times. You changed the greeting from hi to hello, and then back again. You spent 10 minutes agonizing over a single comma, wondering if it conveyed the precise tone you were aiming for. All the while, the recipient was simply hoping for a quick answer so they could move on with their day. This isn't a quest for quality, it's a defense mechanism. Successful companies often operate on the minimum viable product, MVP principle. Get a functional version out to the public, gather feedback, and then iterate. They understand that progress comes from action and real-world data, not from endlessly polishing something in fearful isolation. Number 2. Endless planning. If perfectionism is procrastination in a suit, endless planning is procrastination with a detailed PowerPoint presentation. Your brain loves to plan because it provides the illusion of productivity without any of the risks of actual execution. Every color-coded spreadsheet, every intricate mind map, and every exhaustive to-do list gives you a small hit of dopamine, a false sense of accomplishment. You become a master architect of projects that never break ground. This state is often called analysis paralysis. For instance, imagine you want to start a YouTube channel. Instead of grabbing your phone and recording your first video, you spend months researching. You compare the specs of 50 different cameras, analyze the best microphones, study complex editing software, and build a detailed content calendar for the entire year. Your plan is so perfect that it becomes intimidating, and the sheer weight of your preparation makes the simple act of starting feel monumental. The plan itself has become the achievement rather than the tool to achieve something. Action, even imperfect action, is infinitely more valuable than a flawless plan that never leaves the drawing board. Number 3. Over-networking. Everyone tells you that your network is your net worth, which leads many people to treat networking like a numbers game. This is the strategy of over-networking, attending every industry event, every mixer, and every conference you can, with the goal of collecting as many business cards and LinkedIn connections as possible. You spend your evenings making the same superficial small talk over and over, perfecting a 30-second elevator pitch that doesn't lead to any real conversation. At the end of the month, you might have a stack of 100 business cards, but you've built 0 meaningful relationships. The problem with this approach is that it values the transaction over the connection. It's a form of social busywork that feels productive but rarely leads to actual opportunities. A large, shallow network is far less valuable than a small, deep one. Instead of trying to meet everyone in the room, a far more effective strategy is to identify a few key people you genuinely want to connect with. Focus on having a small number of high-quality conversations. Learn about their work, ask thoughtful questions, and find a point of mutual interest. A single, strong professional relationship built on mutual respect and benefit is worth 1,000 acquaintances who wouldn't recognize you a week later. Number 4. Chasing every trend. This is the success seeker's version of shiny object syndrome. Every week, a new article, podcast, or influencer will declare that they've found the one new hack that will change everything. It could be a new productivity app, a revolutionary marketing platform, or a radical morning routine. The time-wasting habit is to immediately drop what you're doing and pivot your entire strategy to chase this new, exciting trend. This reactive approach keeps you in a constant state of starting over. You never give one strategy enough time to actually gain traction and produce results because you're always jumping to the next big thing. Imagine a small business owner who changes their entire marketing plan every quarter based on the latest trend. One moment, they're pouring all their resources into TikTok videos. A few months later, they abandon it to build a complex email sales funnel. Then they drop that to start a podcast. Their efforts are fragmented, their audience is confused, and they never achieve mastery in any single area. A much better approach is to establish a core, fundamental strategy and stick with it. You can still be open to new ideas, but you should evaluate them critically. Does this new trend actually align with and support your long-term goals, or is it just a distraction? Consistency almost always beats novelty. Number 5. Overworking. Our culture often glorifies the hustle, promoting the dangerous myth that longer hours automatically lead to greater success. You're led to believe that the person who works 12-hour days and sacrifices their weekends is the one who will win. This is fundamentally wrong and ignores the law of diminishing returns. For most types of knowledge work, productivity drops off a cliff after about 8 hours. Working beyond that point doesn't just produce less valuable work, it can actually produce negative value. You become fatigued, your decision-making gets worse, and you start making costly mistakes that you'll have to spend hours fixing later. This leads to a vicious cycle. You're less productive, so you feel like you need to work longer hours, but the longer hours are precisely what's making you less productive. This isn't a sign of dedication, it's a sign of poor time management. Burnout isn't just a buzzword for feeling tired. It's a state of chronic mental and physical exhaustion that destroys your creativity, motivation, and passion. True high performers don't work more. They work smarter and more intensely. They focus on deep work for concentrated periods and then understand the critical importance of rest and recovery to recharge their minds. Number 6. The comparison game. In the age of social media, playing the comparison game is easier and more damaging than ever. This is the habit of constantly measuring your own progress, success, and life against the carefully curated highlight reels of others. You waste hours scrolling through feeds, seeing someone else's promotion, product launch, or perfect vacation photo, and it immediately triggers feelings of inadequacy and envy. It's a huge drain on your mental and emotional energy, pulling your focus away from what you should be doing and placing it squarely on what others have already done. The fundamental flaw in this game is that you are comparing your behind-the-scenes reality, complete with all your struggles, doubts, and messy work in progress, to someone else's polished public victory. It's an unfair fight that you are guaranteed to lose every time. The energy you spend tracking others' achievements is energy you could be investing in your own. The only person you should ever compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Are you making progress on your own unique path? Are you learning and growing? That is the only metric that matters. Shutting out the noise and focusing on your own lane isn't just good advice. It's a critical strategy for sustainable success. Number 7. Micromanaging details. This strategy is a subtle form of procrastination where you avoid the big, important, and often difficult tasks by obsessing over small, insignificant details. It feels productive because you are busy and checking items off a list, but you are majoring in minor things. This is a classic violation of the 8020 principle, or Pareto principle, which states that for many outcomes, roughly 80% of the consequences come from 20% of the causes. When you micromanage details, you spend all your time working on the 80% of tasks that will only ever yield 20% of the results. Imagine a manager who spends an hour debating the perfect font for an internal report instead of making a difficult phone call to an unhappy client. Choosing a font is easy and gives a small, immediate sense of control and accomplishment. Dealing with an unhappy client is hard, uncomfortable, and requires real emotional labor, but it is infinitely more important for the business. To avoid this trap, you must constantly ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now part of the critical 20% that drives real progress? Learn to identify the high-impact activities and tackle them first, even when they're the ones you want to do the least. Number 8. Goal overload. Ambition is a powerful engine for success, but without focus, it just spins your wheels. Goal overload is the result of that unfocused ambition. It's what happens when you try to do everything at once. You decide that this is the year you'll start a side business, learn Spanish, run a marathon, and read 50 books. While each of these goals is admirable on its own, Trying to pursue them all simultaneously dilutes your focus and energy to the point of ineffectiveness. Your attention becomes a dim light bulb trying to illuminate an entire room, rather than a powerful laser beam concentrated on a single point. When your energy is split across too many targets, you make only minimal, frustrating progress on each one. This lack of tangible results can be incredibly demotivating, often leading you to abandon all your goals and conclude that you're simply not disciplined. The problem isn't your discipline, it's your strategy. Success is often built sequentially, not in parallel. A far more effective approach is to ruthlessly prioritize. Pick one, maybe two, primary goals for a set period. Pour your energy into them, achieve them, and let the momentum and confidence from that victory fuel your next pursuit. It's better to fully achieve one important goal than to be halfway done with 5. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.